Hello everyone, and hopefully you could hear me this time. That's that piece of shit OBS. That's what happens when you use freeware. Okay, pro tip when you're gonna record videos, don't use freeware bullshit. Okay, software, pay for it. Okay, we're still using OBS, but you know, still it's a million times better than DxTory at least, and Fraps. You know, so you don't get ridiculously stupid file sizes out of it in the end. So this is of course the 3.0 Tactics Vanguard overview. Take 2. Take 1 didn't go well. Okay, what it does is that it changes the microphone just at random. So you'll be live streaming with OBS and everything will be fine. Your microphone will be working, and then what will happen is you'll close it, you go back and open it, and it'll be the headset microphone, which is not on. It's not on, so you see the microphone little icon for the microphone. It's lit. If it's lit up, microphone's connected. That's what it means. So you look at it and say, "Oh, fine, okay." But then you go in and oh, it's not recording audio because it's recording the wrong fucking mic. It's a piece of shit. OBS. Remember that, OBS, piece of shit. Right, let's get into this. I have to re-record the whole thing. Could have just done commentary over that, but nah, we'll just re-record the whole thing. Once again, 35 minutes of our life that we'll never ever get back. So the Tactics Vanguard, what's it all about, right? Tactics Vanguard, if you want to just be a badass and take names, and you want to be that guy on the Underlurker, bear in mind if you're a Vanguard, and somebody asks you, do you have the Underlurker achievement, you just say, bitch, I'm a Vanguard, okay? That's all you respond with. And if you're a Scoundrel, you can do the same. Do not need an achievement for the Underlurker, because you have something way better than an achievement, okay, as a Vanguard, and we'll get into that right now when we look at our utilities. Of course, it is the burst damage spec of it. Our utilities that we're going to have a look at, battlefield training, movement speed increased by 15%. Not a lot of people tend to take movement speed for granted. Bear in mind, as a melee DPS, movement speed equals DPS, okay? It's a DPS gain. The faster you move, the quicker you get to the target. Okay, faster you're moving, quicker you get there. Because most of our attacks, we have to be at melee range. Certainly our big bleeds, like our gut and our stock strike. We want these on the target. Okay, these are melee range only. Okay, so we want to be at melee range of the target. We want to be within 4 meters as quickly as possible. So 5% movement speed gets us there quicker. Gets us a couple of, you know, get in there. If you're moving quicker than the other guy, you're a couple of global cooldowns ahead in your rotation. That's the idea and the theory behind movement speeds. Again, 15% faster makes a difference. Also gets you out of things. It's a good form of mitigation, movement speed as well. Paralytic combat stims recharge 10 energy cells when stunned, immobilized, knocked down, or otherwise incapacitated. Can be handy in certain fights where we know we're going to get stunned, okay? Mostly handy in flashpoints, and it's mostly usable by the tank spec, really. If you're getting stunned a lot as a tank, 10 energy cells, help yourselves to that. Free energy regen, you know, is free, you know, so if you're getting knocked down. Bear in mind that we can prevent a lot of knockdowns with Hold the Line, so we can use Hold the Line to prevent that, so bear that in mind. If you're going to take some knockdowns just to regen your energy, it's worth considering. Reflective armor into the fray is triggered to also deal damage to the attacker if the attacker is within 10 meters. Useful on fights like Underlurker, where we are going to be taking constant damage from the ads. So again, all they do is jump on the spot and do sort of kinetic damage. It's melee damage that they do. So can be useful, give you that extra little bit of DPS. You know, you will be within 10 meters of the Lurkerling if you're doing Underlurker. So yeah, I mean, Tactics is a very good spec on the Lurker, on the Underlurker. A lot of burst damage, we want that on Underlurker. So again, having reflective armor can work if you're raiding. Entangling Heat, Tactical Surge, Ion Pulse, Explosive Round, reduce the movement speed of all affected targets. Nah, not for PvE. Okay, 50% movement speed. PvP, Tactical Surge is what we're going to be using. Okay, that's going to be our go-to ability generally. When there's not a lot else to press, Tactical Surge is going to be there. If we're low on energy, we're going to swap it for Hammer Shot. It does have a range of 30 meters, Hammer Shot, bear that in mind. Same with a High Impact Bolt and Assault Plastique. So you've got decent range. Cell Burst is only 10 meters. So Muzzle Augs, I like this one. You know, increases the range of Ion Pulse, Tactical Surge by 5 meters and the radius of Explosive Surge by 2 meters. Again, very, very useful actually. Tactical Surge is generally our kind of filler ability for this. 10 meter range normally, 15 meters. So if we target the thing here and we show you, this is it at 10 meters, roughly 10 meters. We're just slightly beyond 10 meters. You can see we lose a lot of other things. We lose our cell burst, but you can move a little bit. This is 15 meters. Okay, 14.8. So you can see it gives us that little bit of extra scope for movement. Bear in mind it'll be in a radius around at 15 meter radius, so it gives us that little bit of extra scope for movement and damage. So in fights like Bulow, and again fights where we're target switching like Sword Squadron, for example, when we switch from Unit 1 to Unit 2, it can be very, very useful on those occasions. So it is very, very good. Again, Sharp Satchel, if we're cleaving, we're going to take it for doing dailies, basically. If we're cleaving, general rule is don't be tactics for cleaving. If we're doing a lot of cleaving, Plasma is the daddy when it comes to cleave. Okay, Plasma Tech, the best cleave, arguably the best cleave spec. You could argue maybe between that and the Sage, although ever since the Sage got nerfed, then Plasma is one of the best right now in the game. So bear that in mind. If we're doing a lot of cleave with this Sharp Satchel, we don't really want to be tactic spec for cleave. It's not bad for cleave, it's not viable, it's just Plasma Tech is just so superior. So if we're doing a lot of ad clearing, then it depends what we're doing. I mean, if we're on doing Sparky and if we're just staying on the boss, or if we're killing ads, if you're on the boss, tactics. If we're killing ads, Plasma, just getting those dot spreads and hitting multiple ads is very, very useful, being Plasma. So rather than tactics, tactics is a single target burst damage is where it excels, so bear that in mind. Iron Will, pretty good actually for getting fights like Underlucker. If you're doing Underlucker hard mode, Hold the Line is a godsend. Okay, Hold the Line is epic on that fight. So reducing the cooldown of Hold the Line by 5 seconds. Again, Rage Storm will kill you with one hit, and again and the ads put a slow on you as well. So you know, we don't want to get caught in Rage Storm, and you know, we don't want to be. We can get rid of the ad slow, so we can move from one ad to the other quicker with this. Again, Hold the Line, taking it down by 5 seconds is pretty nice as well. Also it pairs up nicely with Advance the Line, which increases the duration of Hold the Line, because bear in mind, while Hold the Line is active, we are immune to movement impairing effects, physics effects, and knockdowns. So again, defensive measures, Harpoon, Immobility. Again, Harpoon we're not using, Stealth Scan not really using in PvE. Electro Shield can be useful again on Underlucker, pretty useful again. Those Lurkerlings are going to be constantly attacking you, and you will take constant damage, so you can get a use out of that. It is a good little, nice little bit of extra damage. Again, pairing that with Reflective Armor as well is pretty nice actually, so it gives you a nice little DPS increase. Again, Advance the Line, increase the duration of Hold the Line by 4 seconds. Again, we can't be stunned, knocked down, or you know, push back. I don't think we suffer pushbacks either. We don't need pushbacks anyway. We've got no channeled or casted abilities on in this spec. But again, it's just useful in those fights. Accelerated Reel, nah, we don't use Harpoon. Sonic Rebounder, this is the ability must take. Okay, if you're gonna take anything as a Vanguard, okay, if you're gonna do anything, Sonic Rebounder, this is your ticket. This is your ticket to the raid. Okay. This is one of the best things. This is why you don't need the achievement on Underlucker, okay? It's like you're a Vanguard. You say, I'm a Vanguard, right? I have something better, and that is Sonic Rebounder. If you think of it, it's like Saber Reflect for the raid. Doesn't protect you. Now, Sonic Rebounder is not a defensive cooldown for you, okay? Sonic Round protects all friendly targets in its area of impact, excluding you, so it's not going to affect you. So it reflects the next direct single target attack back to the attacker. Very, very useful on the cross for Underlucker. It will reflect the cross damage, okay? If everyone's close enough in on the cross, it will do it for the whole raid, and no one will take any damage. Okay, Sonic Rebounder is the big thing. If you don't know what Sonic Round is your AoE taunt. Bear in mind that if you're not in Ion Cell, it's a threat dump, and we aren't in Ion Cell, we're in High Energy Cell. Ion Cell is the tanking cell, so we will be definitely going to want to use this. Just fire it at the Underlucker when you're in the cross, and he drops the cross. No one takes any damage. Even from a red cross, it can save a few people from dying on a red cross as well. So yeah, we can just cheese the Underlurker with this. If everyone's standing close enough to him, you have to be standing close enough because it's got to be within its area of impact. It doesn't say what its area of impact is on the utility. It doesn't actually say it. So it says fires a sonic round that taunts your target and all nearby enemies. Okay, if Ion Cell is active. If Ion Cell's not active, it reduces threat. So don't worry about AoE taunting the Underlurker on the cross phase. I don't think he can be taunted anyway on the cross phase. I don't think it makes any difference. But anyway, so make sure Sonic Rebounder, use that. It is a must take if you're raiding. PvP as well, it's useful as well. Again, it's useful in flashpoints as well. It can protect against certain things. So Sonic Rebounder is why you want to take Vanguards. And again, it's why this class is so in demand at the moment. It's one of the reasons why it is just a big Saber Reflect for the entire raid. Okay, it has to be single target damage, but that is a big single target hit, the Devastate. Containment tactics, just the cooldown of Cryo Grenade. Maybe if we're doing, what's it called again? The Revenite Commander's hard mode, where you want to be stunning things. So again, reducing that cooldown of Cryo Grenade comes in handy. And again, frontline defense is similar. Again, we want to be interrupting things. If we're ever in a situation where we have to interrupt, reducing the cooldown of Riot Strike, which is our interrupt, by 2 seconds, does come in handy. If you're doing Revan solo mode, you know, and you don't want to be lying on the floor for the majority of the fight, then yeah, it's pretty useful. Right, we'll move on to the heroic ones. Now, I really like Guard Cannon. Okay, I like it. Shoulder Cannon, damaging a target with a shoulder cannon heals us for 5% of our total health. Now, bear in mind, if you're doing tactics, okay, if you're doing a tactics Vanguard, then you get charged loaders at level 56. Okay, it increases the damage dealt by shoulder cannon and immediately loads 3 additional missiles. Okay, so we normally get 4 missiles when we load our shoulder cannon, but we get 4 right away because it loads 3 right away and then the extra 1, and we get 7 missiles. That's 35% of our health. You can see it loads in the 7th one here, so we immediately get 4, so it's a very, very good defense ability. There you go, 7 shoulder missiles. Okay, so that's 35% of our health, okay, that we can regenerate. It does have a cooldown, we can't sit and spam them anymore, but yeah, I like it. It's a very good defensive ability there for us. It's a very, very good. Guardian Vanguards in general have very, very good defensive things. We got like reflective shield and things like that, and we've also got things like, you know, damage taken from area effects reduced by 30%. Okay, while stunned we take 30% less damage from all sources. There you go. You know, this is why you want Vanguard. This is why you want a Vanguard, because we just take so little damage, and we have utilities like this which are ridiculous in their overpoweredness. Again, because again, there's 7 things. Okay. Also, we paralytic Augs, increase the stun duration of Cryo Grenade and Neural Surge. Again, can be useful if we are doing those Revenite Commanders. A lot of ads. There's a lot of ads. Bear in mind, stunning those ads and interrupting them is a good idea. Generally, we want to be stunning them because the Cryo Grenade has a bit of range to it. You know, Cryo Grenade, I think it's 10 meters as a bit road, as opposed to our interrupt, which is, I think it's only 4 meters. Yeah, 4 meters Riot Strike is. So stunning those ads is decent. You know, it's decent because again, they do a lot of AoE damage. You got the Outlaw Revanites, and I can't remember the mercenary ones, the bounty hunter ones that do death from above. Want to be interrupting them, want to be stunning them, okay? Because we stun them, again, increasing the duration of that. It's pretty good. It's good for clearing them, especially in the burn phase when all the shit's going down. You know, you want to maybe consider paralytic Augs and things like that. You want to consider things like that. Emergency Stims allows Adrenaline Rush to be activated while stunned, causes the Adrenaline Rush to purge stun effects. When activated, this will not work against types of incapacitating effects or scripted stuns which are used by. So again, this is what kind of throws us off, is it scripted stuns that are used by bosses. Yeah, like the choke, for example, on the bonus boss in, what's it called again? Korriban Incursion, you know, that's a scripted one that chokes everybody else. So again, I honestly don't like Adrenaline Rush, if we're honest. It fires you up for 60 seconds, which triggers adrenaline rush. Your health is reduced below 40%. Your health is... then it heals you back to 40%. So it's like, yeah, heals you for 8 seconds. It's not the best, really. I mean, it is a real shit button, but for the tank, but it's not really the best. It just kind of heals us too slow. Really, that's my problem. I think guard cannon tends to be better. We'll pop that on cooldown for a bit. Guard cannon tends to be a bit better just because it gives you that 5%, and you can control it, so you can use it whenever you need it, and you can use it if you're at 50% health, because if you're at 50% health, you're going to want heals. Adrenaline rush, we can use it while stunned. It's mostly a PvP thing, emergency stims. Re-energizer, reserve power cell is activated. It recharges 10 energy cells over the next 5 seconds and immediately increases threat towards enemy or lowers threat if ion cell is not active, so it lowers threat in our case. Can be very, very useful. Again, on fights we're doing a lot of target switching. Again, like Underlurker, where we want to push our energy to its limit. Then reserve power cell can be useful. Reserve power cell is... next ability costs no energy cell, so it gives us 2 energy regens. We get recharge and reserve power cell, so using reserve power cell can be pretty handy. We do reserve power cell probably best used with mortar volley. It used to be we would use reserve power cell and full auto, but that got took away. But the best thing is to use a channeled ability, because it's the best use of it, because it's like it channels for like 3 seconds. Okay, your mortar volley is a 3-second channel here. So you got your mortar volley channeling for 3 seconds, and you know it's 3 seconds of extra energy regen. Costs no energy as well over the course of the 3 seconds. So I would recommend using mortar volley if you get low energy with reserve power cell. It used to be, I mean, a commando you always used it with bolt storm, but again, because we have no channeled abilities as a commando, as a Vanguard anymore, then I'd recommend that. So again, taking that is pretty decent actually. Focus stims increases basically, well, it increases damage reduction by 5%. Basically, it's not a damage increase because we're not using ion cell, we're not tanking. It's a 2-minute cooldown. No problem with battle focus. Battle focus is your main offensive cooldown. Okay, increases crit chance by 25%, which is very, very powerful for tactics. Critical strike. But yeah, I don't think it's that. I prefer guard cannon because it's like 5%. I mean, the cooldown on your shoulder missiles are... it's 1.5 minutes is the cooldown on your shoulder missiles, and it's 5% of your total health every 5, so you can get 35% of your health, which I think is better than 5% damage reduction. So it generally comes down to a choice between these two. Generally it's going to be a bit of a choice here, but I always prefer guard cannon because again we get more control over it, whereas this, we're going to be popping it as an offensive cooldown anyway. We're not really going to be popping it in a defensive capacity, okay, because it's such a powerful offensive cooldown in the spec that I wouldn't bother with it. I'd go with guard cannon in the end. Charge the line, hold the line increases movement speed by an additional 45% while active. Again, speed equals damage. Again, gets you to a certain place or gets you out of something. So again, we said that before. 45% extra movement speed. Some would argue it's not really necessary on some fights, as long as you can position yourself. This is going to be dependent on your skill, really, whether you take this or not, and whether you can take something like re-energizers. Okay, if you're good at positioning yourself in good position for, or if you have a sage. Not a sage, a sentinel, should we say, in the group that can have transcendence if you're doing Underlurker hard mode. What does that thing do? Alright, it just shows you that thing. Alright, so I was wondering what the hell does that thing do there. So yeah, I mean, again, if you've got a sentinel, you probably don't need to take this because you'll get the movement speed anyway. And you should be using hold the line, pretty much, again. In Underlurker, because we want to get to the rock before Rage Storm, because Rage Storm will just kill you in hard mode. Okay, it does a bit of damage in story mode. Hard mode, it will just flat out kill you. Efficient tools, again, increasing the range of shoulder cannon, reduce the energy cost of cryo grenade and neural surge. Not really. Again, you could argue maybe Revanite commanders, but nah, not really. The range on shoulder cannon can be useful, but I think that re-energizers or charge the line is going to be more useful here. than efficient tools, personally. So that's what I go with. Let's talk about what this spec is all about. Basically, every single spec in the game, every DPS, every tank, every healer spec, is based around a principle, okay, and it has a goal for each rotation. The rotation has a goal, basically. And the goal of this rotation is to get Cell Burst to hit as hard as possible. Okay, Cell Burst is generally our hardest hitting single ability. There's two things that we need to know about, okay, with Cell Burst, okay. One of the things is, what is it called again? Charge, I don't know, we'll get a stack of it and see. There it is. Energy load, okay. You can only use your Cell Burst if you have stacks of energy load. Okay, make sure there are two methods of generating stacks of energy load. Okay, it stacks up to 4 times. I'll show you. There it is here. Where is it? There it is. Unleashes your energy cell, so it will only do damage based on the number of energy loads that we have. So basically, it stacks up to 4. So we only want to hit this when we have 4 energy loads. Now, there's 2 methods of generating energy loads. One, the out of combat method, is to just use your out of combat heal, and you'll see we'll generate 4 stacks here, and it will light up on 4 stacks. You'll see it light up there, so it will tell you when you have 4 stacks. You have 4 stacks, you see the difference in damage. It's gone from like 1,000 damage to 7,000 damage now. So again, this is what we want to do. We don't want to hit it at less than 4 stacks unless the target's about to die. Maybe hit it on 2 stacks if you're going to kill the target. So you want to keep this. The goal is to get this to hit as hard as possible, so it's not going to be our opener. Okay, generally our opener is going to be Stock Strike, because Stock Strike will sunder the target. Okay, Stock Strike, Assault Plastique is going to actually be our opener. Assault Plastique again makes the target vulnerable, 5% more damage for 45 seconds. So we're going to use Assault Plastique, and then we're going to use Stock Strike generally, and then we're going to get our target bleeding. Okay. So there it is. So there it is here. Serrated Blades. Stock Strike causes the target to become sundered, reducing the armor by 20% for 45 seconds. So we want the target sundered, we want the target susceptible, and we want the target bleeding. Okay? Because again, it's just a big damage increase. It's like 20% less armor. It is 5%. 5% from a tech attack, which is a tech attack. And it is going to be 3%. So there you go. You've got 20% less armor, 8% more damage, basically. So again, getting this to hit as hard as possible is our goal. Okay, that's our goal with Cell Bursts. Okay, getting it to hit as hard as possible. So we're going to start generally with Assault Plastique. We want to keep Stock Strike on cooldown, and we also want to keep the target bleeding. Now, the other method that we generate the energy loads in combat is to use High Impact Bolt. Now, High Impact Bolt, when it hits a bleeding target, will refund us energy. That's why we want to keep the target bleeding. Okay, very, very important. Also, will refresh the bleed. So again, very important on fights like Bulow. If you're doing that and you get the Mass Barrage comes in, make sure you got your bleed refreshed. Okay, make sure you keep the uptime of your bleed. We'll show you the bleed right now. There it is. That's your little bleed effect. You fire a High Impact Bolt at it, refreshes the bleed. Okay, 18 seconds it lasts for. Also, our Sticky Grenade will also refresh it. So if High Impact Bolt's not available, throw out your Sticky Grenade and you can see the bleed refreshes. The key thing to note here with this spec is that it will refresh. Now, we're never going to get out of combat with this thing. That's the only downside to the dummy on your ship, is you can never get out of combat with it. We'll wander on over here, see if we can get away from it. Get out of combat. I want to demonstrate stuff. Obsessed with keeping you in combat. Right. So what we never, the one rule is never use High Impact Bolt with 4 stacks of energy load. Okay. High Impact Bolt is a no. We want to use it on cooldown generally. Okay, generally on cooldown. We want to keep our target bleeding. So bear in mind that High Impact Bolt and Sticky Grenade can refresh it. So again, Mass Barrage comes, High Impact Bolt's on cooldown. Throw a Sticky Grenade at Bulow. Okay. Refresh that bleed so you can get back in and start doing your damage rotation again. So what we're going to do is we're going to open Assault Plastique generally as our opener. We'll get within range. Note this has no time limit. That doesn't come off really due to a time limit. I think it comes off if you go through a loading screen or you die. So if we hit a loading screen or we die, it will come off. But potentially cell burst. So we're gonna stack up all their abilities. We're gonna get the target susceptible. We're gonna get stock strike out there. We're gonna get the target bleeding. We're gonna ignore this because we got 4 stacks. Then we're gonna hit this off. Okay, we're gonna hit this off. Get this hit as hard as possible. Again, bear in mind this will refund this 5 energy because the target is still bleeding. And then it's just a case of stock strike, assault plastique on cooldown. Your filler is going to be tactical surge. Okay, your basic filler is your tactical surge. If you have sort of less than 60% energy, use hammer shot as filler. Okay, but what we're going to do is keep the target susceptible, keep the target sundered, keep the target bleeding. Okay, because it's just a big damage buff, and then get yourself back to having 4 stacks of cell burst and keep going with that. AoE rotation again, and you want to fill in as well with shoulder cannon as well. Preload your shoulder cannon. Don't forget to pop your battle focus as well, 25% extra crit. And we're going to talk about stats right now. Now for stats, crit. Okay, we want crit. Okay, massive amounts of crit that we want. This class will benefit a lot. 30% I would say is about the minimum that we get. I should point out that we don't really raid a lot with this class. You can tell because I spent 2 million credits getting her outfit, getting her gun to match her outfit. Purple and black gun, purple and black outfit. And I'm still not fully augmented. Still, I'm accuracy cap though, at least, so you know. And I have the 2-piece healer set bonus, basically because these things have 82 crit in them. So I'm going to take that from the commando. As a result, of course, we're going to take surge. Now, we'll show you the ability now right here. It's Havoc training. Okay, increase the critical strike damage bonus of stock strike, high impact bolt, tactical surge, gut, assault plastique, and cell burst. Okay, everything we just mentioned in the rotation basically by 30%. Okay, 30% critical damage bonus. Okay, that is insane. Okay, that means if we have 70% surge, if we get a crit, we do double damage. Okay, because it's going to add to our surge. Okay. It's basically, most of the time it is going to be tech. I think High Impact Bolt is our only non-tech ability. High Impact Bolt and Hammer Shot are our only non-tech ability. So all of these things, that is basically our rotation, have a 30% critical damage bonus. That makes crit very, very powerful. Also makes this cooldown very, very powerful. If we do our rotation, we'll get through it again with the... So always start combat with 4 stacks of energy load, and you want to load your shoulder missiles, okay? Get your shoulder missiles preloaded. Preload your shoulder missiles and start with 4 stacks of energy load. And if we pop our cooldown, stock strike, assault plastique, gut, and fire off an energy load, and then get one of them out while it's still up. You can see that we have 55% crit chance. That is insane amount of damage that we are going to do in our burst. Couple that with the smuggler buff. We couple that with our, if you look at the smuggler buff, which is 10% extra crit, smuggler raid buff, if you have an operative in your group, an operative or a scoundrel, then, you know, we can do insane burst. It's a reason why we generally have to pop our threat dump. I don't have it on the bar, actually, because I'm usually a tank as a Vanguard, but I should have that on the bar. But yeah, general filler is going to be... Shoulder missile is a good bit of filler. You can see it's going to heal us 2.5k. It's a 1.5 second cooldown. So it's 2.5k health at our current health rate. Very, very good from a defensive point of view as well. But again, it's useful. I like to just pad out your rotation if you're waiting for things to come off cooldown. Again, it doesn't cost any energy as well. So again, if we're low on energy, we're going to pad it out with shoulder cannon. Or if we have low health. I just taunted there for no reason. Just taunted the thing there. That was useful. Don't use your taunt. Don't use neural jolt. I have that keybind because I'm a tank. Generally, if I'm raiding, I'll take that off, the key binding. But yeah, the Tactics Vanguard, pretty overpowered at the moment. It is ridiculous how much we can get out of it as crit rating. It is one of the best, the best melee spec. In terms of its mobility, in terms of its defenses, and in terms of its damage output, it is one of the best. There's no channeled abilities that we really have to do. AoE rotation wise, your basic AoE rotation, mortar volley is pretty decent in this spec. We've got grenadership, which again reduces the cooldown, and mortar volley increases its damage by 10%. Sticky Grenade also deals 50% more damage, and its cooldown is reduced by 6 seconds. And of course it refreshes the Guts Bleed now. Important thing to note, it will only refresh Guts Bleed, it will not spread it. Which is a shame, because this would be OP as fuck if it did that. So Mortar Volley tends to be a priority. You can fill it in with things like your Pulse Cannon, which I don't have because I'm a tank. Generally, at the end, we don't have our Pulse Cannon. Where is it? There it is. Should throw it somewhere. I don't have it keybound. Because I'm a tank and we get like Ion Storm when you're a tank. We don't use Pulse Cannon as a tank. So yeah, I don't have that. So again, Pulse Cannon, you can use that for cleave. Explosive Surge, again, if you increase the damage of Explosive Surge. Pretty handy for cleave. But generally, we don't cleave in this spec. Generally, we want to be Plasma. Plasma is your cleave spec. Generally, Tactics is your single target burst spec. But yeah, you do get the Mortar Volley extra damage and the cooldown reduced. So that's your main thing for AoE. And again, Sticky Grenade as well. Make sure your target's bleeding though as well. If one of your targets is bleeding, so it refreshes the bleed as well. Again, Sticky Grenade on single target is useful. So you're going away again. Bulo is useful. Again, Underlurker. We're fighting Underlurker, and then, oh, the ads have spawned. I've got my bleed up. I'm going to throw a Sticky Grenade and then go attack the ads. So these little things that give you extra damage. Throw a Sticky Grenade at it, refresh the bleed. Again, it's extra damage. It does more damage, Sticky Grenade anyway as well. So it is decent. I mean, for your single target rotation, we want High Impact Bolt generally as our priority for refreshing bleed. Gut, if we can be at melee range, generally is the go-to. Gut doesn't do a lot of damage. It doesn't do a great deal of damage. It does have that chance to crit though, so bear that in mind that Sticky Grenade doesn't. So we can still use Gut as part of our single target. Probably best to use Gut if you're in melee range, because again, it just has that extra crit chance. Especially if you have a decent amount of crit rather than Sticky Grenade. But generally, High Impact Bolt, if you have less than 4 stacks of your low energy loads. There it is, energy load. Keep forgetting that. So again, if you use that on 1 stack, you'll see it 1 stack does pitiful amount of damage. But if you get it on 4 stacks, it is nice. And it crits, really 4 stacks with a crit. Very, very nice. Okay, it's very, very nice. Getting your set bonus as well will help you out massively with DPS and this spec. So anyway, that is all for this video. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again soon. Hopefully the audio did work this time. It does work. Yeah, it has worked. There you go. So it has worked. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again soon. And goodbye.